All right, Miranda, thanks. A lot happening right now in Eastern Europe. Tensions continue to mount between Ukraine and Russia, putting more pressure on Europe, while most of the talk here in the U.S. is focused on the Middle East. According to the AP, a major battle erupted on Wednesday on the western edge of the main separatist rebel stronghold in Ukraine, city of Donetsk, leaving more than a dozen dead and threatening to tip the country back into, quote, full-blown war. Rebels in the city reported 15 dead between civilians and combatants in that territory under their control. With us now for more on this is Todd Wood. And Todd, are we looking at another quote-unquote full-blown war in the Ukraine here very soon?
It really depends on Putin as to how far he wants to push this. I'm not sure why the fighting boiled over again, but it's very tense there, and everyone is expecting the separatists, once they have rearmed and spring is coming, to try and possibly take a land bridge down through Mariupol into the Crimean Peninsula. So that's the big question on everybody's mind, is if Putin wants to do that and face the consequences from the world for those actions.
So if Putin wanted to, he could stop all this very quickly, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he doesn't control them completely,
right?
But he could stop supporting them. And, if you remember back, the Ukrainian army basically was doing what it wanted until Russia, came in.
Right. And then we are here today from Petro Poroshenko, 9,000 Russian troops right there on the border. This thing getting more interesting every single day. And as we mentioned, Todd, the administration here in Washington or in the United States is focused so much on the Middle East, not so much on Russia. Meantime, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif meeting today with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Should the U.S. be concerned about perhaps a burgeoning alliance between these two?
Look, I mean, Russia doesn't owe the U.S. or the West any favors, and they are actively trying to court alliances and poking the United States in the eye. They're doing it in North Korea, where they're supplying them fuel and food. And sure, I think that they will not worry about the United States reaction to helping Iran.
All right, let's talk about your column and as it relates to all this. We look at the Middle East, we look at Russia, but there's a history between Russia and Chechnya, of course. Karma, you write, is a funny thing. It tends to bite you when you least expect it or when you can least afford it. This may be happening in Russia, specifically regarding Chechnya, the tiny Islamic region in the Caucasus. Todd, tell us how Russians' past with Chechnya is coming back to haunt it now.
Well, they fought 2 wars there to basically subdue an Islamic separatist movement back in the 90s. And that's what gave Putin his rise to power. That's what made him popular, was how effectively he dealt with the Second War. And they have relied on, since that time, the son of the former president or dictator of the region, Kadyrov, who is a very brutal guy. He's suppressed the population. He is taking patronage from all the businesses, from the people there. So, he's Moscow's vassal. But the question is, he's also, a Muslim. And his father switched sides. If ISIS comes up through Iran into the Caucasus, Russia could have a real problem. And so, it's a question. He recently said something to the effect that, if Russian policemen come into Chechnya, he allows his private army to shoot them. That didn't go over too well in the Kremlin.
I wouldn't imagine it would. And this just goes to show us everybody seems to be in a beef with pretty much everybody else everywhere in the world. Todd, we thank you for giving us an update on it. It's always good to have you. You can catch Todd's latest work on thewashingtontimes.com, and you can catch him here at least once a week on Newsmax Now. It's good to see you, Todd.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
All right, before we step aside for another commercial break, we're going to check in real quickly. What you're seeing right here is going to be, it's going to be the Rick Perry for President announcement, as you can see on that plane, a former member of the Texas Air National Guard in the Air Force. Rick Perry going to do this in front of a plane there down in Texas, going to announce his presidential bid. We'll try to take you there live as that happens, coming up right after this commercial break.